Hello everyone, my name is Tiago. I'm a partner solution engineer at Cloudflare, and today I'm going to give you a quick guide on how you can set up remote browser isolation demos on your environments. So before we jump into the configuration, let's just take a quick look at what is browser isolation and what problems does it solve. So RBI is a powerful way to secure web sessions by isolating browser activity from the endpoints. So protecting users from web-based threats by isolating their browsing activity in a secure remote environment. So instead of loading the web content directly in the user's device, RBI executes all web sessions on the Cloudflare edge and renders it on the user's browser using our network vector rendering technology. The user interacts with a safe render version of the website, which ensures that malicious code such as malware, phishing attempts, zero-day exploits are unable to contaminate the user environment and stay within the isolated environment. It also gives us a powerful tool to provide some interaction controls that we want our users to have. So this means keyboard inputs, file download and upload, and copy paste and print. Cloudflare even takes a step further and also provides clientless browser isolation compatible with all browsers, which requires no software or agent installation on the user's device, and it works entirely via the browser, which means that it's very easy to deploy and manage to specifically for third-party users, contractors, and unmanaged devices that you want to onboard in the organization. So with this in mind, let's jump into the dashboard and see how we can configure this. So this is the home page that you'll see the overview of Zero Trust when you log into the Zero Trust dashboard. And to configure clientless browser isolation, we can go to settings, browser isolation, and there's this tick here that you need to press. So you have the permissions part as well, where you can define who is able to access what. So for example, if you have a specific third-party contractor that you are working with, you can specify their email and limit their access to, or limit the access to just that email to your clientless web isolation sessions. So for browser isolation itself, how can we configure this? So we have to go to Gateway, Firewall Policies, and then choose the layer 7, so HTTP policies. And here we can configure the policies that will isolate specific traffic. So let's create a policy. In this case, I'm going to use web news websites to showcase this feature. So isolate news website is the name of the policy. And if I scroll a bit down, we have the traffic option. Here I want to add a condition. So here I'm going to say what traffic is going to trigger this policy. So for this, I'm going to use, there's a bunch of selectors that you can use. In this case, I'm going to just use content categories. And I'm going to choose the operator. And then the operator, I'm going to choose news, or the value, apologies. I'm going to choose news. So this means that from the Cloudflare radar, which is our threat intelligence engine, which is publicly available, you can go check it Cloudflare or radar.cloudflare.com, what categories, which domain you want to investigate has. In this case, I want domains that are triggering the content category news and media to be triggering this policy. If I scroll down, I have the action. Here you have traditional actions like allow and block. And also we have the isolate and do not isolate. So the isolate is the one that we are going to use. Let me just explain what the do not isolate is for. So in this case, I'm going to choose to trigger traffic for a various wide range of domains, which are considered to be news. This means CNN, BBC, Bloomberg, for example. But if there are specific domains and websites that I find that I don't need to isolate, I can put an exception by creating a rule with that action. So here I'm going to choose isolate. Now, after I chose isolate, there's a few options that appear. These are the interactions that we are going to control that our users have with the website. So I do not want my user to copy paste anything from that page. So I'm going to not allow both. Files and downloads, I'm going to say the same. And for keyboard, I don't want any sort of possibility of a keylogger to take input from my users. And I also do not want the information that is on these websites to go thrown around by printing inside the organization. So I'm going to create the policy now. So the policy is now created. The status is enabled. And we also have the policy ID for troubleshooting needs that we might have in the future to make sure that the traffic is hitting this policy that we can use in the logging part of the dashboard. So for the configuration part, we are all set. So let's jump into the user experience. So right now we are in my macOS VM. This is running Warp to onboard my traffic into Cloudflare and to make sure that traffic is matched with my organization policies. In this case, it's disabled. So right now traffic is flowing to the internet normally. So let me just show you how the interaction with the website is before anything else. So this is me normally going to cnn.com. This is how the website loads. There's a bunch of pop-ups. Let me also show you, for example, bbc.com or .co.uk, which is another news example. Right, this is my interaction with the website. I can print if I want to, and I can Control A, use my keyboards, and Control C, which is copy. And if I open a new tab and do Control V, everything that I copied is there. So let's close all of this. I already have open here minimized my clientless browser isolation, which I'll go showcase first. So this is the interaction that your third-party contractors will have when you provide them this launcher. They'll sign in, and this is the first page they'll see. Here they can go and navigate to any type of URL that you define that they need to access through your policies. So in this case, let's go to cnn.com and see how the interaction is. So the website is loaded, and this is what they see. Quite similar to what we saw before. There are a couple of nuances here. They see the blue bar, which means that there's indications that this is an isolated session. And if they right click, they also notice that the right click is slightly different. There's a few different options. The first thing is you notice that if I highlight something and then I right click, the copy does not work. So copy blocked, an attempt to copy text to the clipboard has been blocked by our administrator. So as soon as they attempt to do an action that we do not allow, they get a very valid warning and meaningful for their experience. Now, if I choose to print, same thing happens. Printing content on this web page has been disabled by your administrator, so there's a no-go. Same thing if I try to do Control C, I'm going to keyboard is blocked. Typing on this page has been blocked by your administrator. This is very strong to control the interaction of your users in suspecting websites or websites that you are not fully convinced they are trustworthy, and there's a possibility for keyloggers to exist on the page. So if the user wants to go to bbc.co.uk, for example, as a new domain that they want to navigate to, they can just come to the search bar and do bbc.co.uk and press enter. The website loads as fast as CNN did, so the experience is very similar. There's cookies that we need to agree to. And you can see that the policies are still applied to the user as printing is disabled. And if they try to, for example, I'll Control A, keyboard is blocked. So this is the clientless browser isolation. So let's see how does the client based isolation works and what is the user experience. So if we close the tab and press on Warp and click on Connect, now my traffic will be onboarded into Cloudflare, so redirected to Cloudflare Edge from my machine. And if I try to open, for example, Google Chrome and go to cnn.co.com, this is the experience from the client-based isolation. So if I click on the right click, you see that the menu is still different. So it showcases a little bit that it is an isolated session, but this time, because it is a client-based isolation, we don't see the blue search bar to navigate. So it's a normal navigation from the browser. Again, if I do Control A to select everything, you see that the keyboard is blocked. And if I over some text section and right click to copy, you'll see that it will be blocked as part of the policy that we created. So I hope this demo was useful to you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.